A cuttlefish looks at clear water and sees an animal that seems invisible to us. A bee looks at a patch of blue sky and finds a compass. A mantis shrimp looks at another mantis shrimp and may detect a signal that most other animals cannot even receive. They are not seeing a secret color, they are seeing the direction in which light is vibrating. This is polarized light, a hidden pattern spread across the sky, reflected from water and altered by transparent bodies. Human vision mostly throws that information away, but for animals with the right eyes, polarization can reveal direction, sharpen prey against the background, and turn ordinary reflections into private signals. To understand how, forget the usual picture of light as a simple ray. A ray only tells you where light is traveling. It leaves out what the light is doing as it moves. Light is an electromagnetic wave. Its electric field oscillates sideways relative to its direction of travel. That sideways motion is why light is called a transverse wave. Imagine shaking one end of a rope. If you move your hand up and down, a vertical wave travels along the rope. Move your hand left and right, and the wave is horizontal. The wave travels forward in both cases, but its orientation is different. Light can also oscillate in different orientations. In ordinary unpolarized sunlight, countless waves arrive with their electric fields pointing in many directions. Their orientations are mixed together, so no single direction dominates. But after light is scattered or reflected, some orientations can become stronger than others. The light is now partially polarized. If the electric field mainly oscillates along one fixed direction, it is linearly polarized. This is what a polarizing filter detects. The filter has a transmission axis. Light aligned with that axis passes through more easily. Turn a second filter across the first, and the image darkens because the two filters disagree about which orientation should pass. Polarized sunglasses use the same principle. Glare reflected from a flat road or water surface is often strongly polarized in a horizontal direction. The glasses block much of that orientation, reducing the bright sheet of reflected light. But an animal with polarization vision does not need to rotate a piece of plastic in front of its face. The filter is built into its photoreceptors. In many insects, crustaceans, and cephalopods, light-sensitive molecules sit in tiny structures called microvilli. When those microvilli are neatly aligned, they absorb some polarization orientations more strongly than others. One receptor might respond best to vertically oriented light, while a neighboring receptor prefers horizontal light. The brain can compare them. If one receptor fires more strongly, the animal gains information about the light's polarization angle. That is the basic trick. Instead of measuring only brightness and wavelength, the eye also measures orientation. Now look up. Sunlight entering the atmosphere collides with molecules and is scattered across the sky. This scattering creates a large polarization pattern linked to the sun's position. The pattern changes as the sun moves, but it does so predictably. Even a small patch of clear sky can contain directional information. To us, that patch is simply blue. To a honeybee, it can be part of a celestial compass. Along the upper edge of a bee's compound eye is a specialized region called the dorsal rim area. Its photoreceptors are particularly sensitive to polarized ultraviolet light. Their microscopic structures are organized in different directions, allowing the bee's nervous system to compare polarization angles across the sky. The bee is not reading a glowing arrow floating above the horizon. It is sampling a geometric pattern and using that pattern to estimate direction relative to the sun. This can remain useful when the sun itself is hidden, but portions of polarized sky are still visible. For an animal traveling between a nest and scattered flowers, that is an extraordinary advantage. The sky is not just illumination. It is a map that updates throughout the day. Underwater, polarization becomes a different kind of tool. Light entering water is scattered by suspended particles. Reflections from the surface and seafloor add more polarization. The result is a background light field with structure. Many small animals are transparent because transparency hides their brightness and color. But a transparent body can bend, scatter, or change the polarization of light passing through it. Against a polarized background, an almost invisible shrimp may create a detectable disturbance. It is like clear glass becoming obvious between two polarizing filters. Cuttlefish are built to notice this. Their eyes resemble our camera-style eyes from the outside, but their photoreceptors use aligned microvilli. Neighboring receptors are arranged at roughly right angles to one another, creating channels tuned to different directions of linear polarization. Cuttlefish do not appear to have conventional color vision, yet their visual world is not necessarily less detailed. Polarization adds a separate source of contrast. Experiments have shown that cuttlefish can detect patterns defined by polarization, even when those patterns have little or no ordinary brightness contrast. This can help them find transparent prey and notice reflections from silvery fish. It can also remain reliable when moving surface waves cast flickering bands of brightness across shallow water. The brightness changes wildly, but polarization contrast may remain stable enough to expose the object. Some cephalopods also produce polarization patterns on their own bodies. Structures in the skin reflect polarized light, creating markings that another polarization-sensitive animal can detect. Researchers have proposed that these patterns contribute to communication. That creates a strange possibility. A cuttlefish could display information that is obvious to another cuttlefish, while a nearby animal without polarization vision sees only an ordinary patch of skin. Fish are vertebrates like us, so their polarization systems can work differently. One of the clearest examples is the northern anchovy. In a specialized area of its retina, the light-sensitive membranes inside certain cone cells are arranged in ways that make them respond differently to polarization orientation. The anchovy does more than passively receive this information. It changes how it swims. In controlled experiments, juvenile anchovies oriented their bodies relative to polarized light while hunting zooplankton. This alignment positioned their polarization-sensitive retina to increase the contrast of prey. Under polarized illumination, the fish detected prey from as much as about twice the distance measured under unpolarized conditions. The polarization did not make the prey brighter. It revealed how the prey disrupted the background light. Then there is the mantis shrimp, whose eyes look less like cameras and more like optical laboratories mounted on stalks. Each compound eye is divided by a specialized central strip called the midband. Different regions analyze different parts of the light signal. Some mantis shrimp can detect multiple orientations of linear polarization. Certain species can also distinguish circular polarization. Circularly polarized light is not locked to one flat orientation. As the wave travels, its electric field rotates, tracing a spiral. It can rotate in either of two directions, called handedness. Detecting this normally requires extra optical machinery. The mantis shrimp grows that machinery inside its eye. A specialized receptor called the R8 cell acts much like a quarter-wave plate, an optical component used in laboratories and cameras. It transforms circularly polarized light into linear polarization that deeper photoreceptors can analyze. Its microscopic structure performs this conversion across a broad range of visible wavelengths. Some mantis shrimp also reflect circularly polarized light from parts of their bodies. Because relatively few animals are known to detect this signal, scientists have suggested it may help with communication, including courtship. It is not proven to be an unbreakable secret code, but it could be a visual channel with a very limited audience. Mantis shrimp can even rotate their eyes around the viewing axis. These eye rolls are not random. Experiments show that the animals can use them to align their receptors with polarized objects, increasing the contrast between a target and its background. So polarization vision is not a magical overlay that reveals everything. It depends on the angle and degree of polarization, the animal's receptor arrangement, its body orientation, and the optical conditions around it. A target that stands out from one direction may disappear from another. And humans are not completely blind to polarization. Under the right conditions, especially while looking at strongly polarized blue light, some people can see a faint yellow and blue bow tie shape near the center of their vision. It is called Haidinger's brush. It comes from the organized pigments and structures around the human macula. The effect is weak, quickly fades, and is not known to guide normal human behavior. Our eyes lack the dedicated receptor channels that make polarization a dependable part of everyday vision. This also means that false color polarization images are translations, not literal reconstructions of what an animal experiences. Scientists assign visible colors to polarization angles so that human viewers can see the differences. The animal's brain may represent those differences in a completely different way, but the information itself is real. Every clear sky contains a shifting compass. Every reflective water surface sorts light by direction. Every transparent body can twist or scatter the pattern passing through it. We stand inside this web of signals without noticing it. To us, light reveals the world. To a bee, an anchovy, a cuttlefish, or a mantis shrimp, light also reveals the hidden geometry holding that world together.